What's going on, everybody? Welcome back here to the Marvel Roundtable. On this installment, we're going to be wrapping up Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as we go back to the ancient ways of Wakanda and explore what happened with the passing of T'Challa, a.k.a. Chadwick Boseman, and the rise of Namor and the Talokans, and see exactly how all this craziness, plus Ironheart somehow being involved in the process, all irons out. See what I did? There's a bad pun. Anyway, we're going to explore the finality of MCU's Phase 4 as we explore Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, right here on the Marvel Roundtable. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Marvel Roundtable, where, of course, we break down each and every single show and movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You guys know me. I'm Mr. Marvel 613 here on the Horny Goat YouTube channel and the Horny Goat Podcasting Network, and it has been almost 3 months since we've done an episode of the Marvel Roundtable, and you can see how ecstatic my co-hosts are to cover this one this evening. And of course, we're finally caught up. It was released on Disney Plus this past earlier this month for the February the 1st, but we are finally wrapping up Phase 4 of the MCU, and therefore, technically speaking, will have been officially 100% caught up as of this episode, as we're going to take a look at Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I'm not alone, though. I've got my cohorts, the ones who I've dragged kicking and screaming into this whole process. I've got, of course, the tattooed mistress herself. I've got Heather, and of course, the seaman known as Canadian Baseman. What's up, fam?
Me somehow still.
Yeah, I don't know how I don't know how.
I had to watch this movie while cleaning, and I had to stop cleaning several times because I just hear what I think I just heard.
What did you hear? What have you heard? Tell me what you know.
I did not have an entertaining time with this movie.
Well, we'll get there. We'll talk about it in all its glory. Of course, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this as well. For those of you who are joining us live in the chat, it's been a while since we've done these. We got Alpha and Federico joining us as always, much appreciated. And of course, you guys can listen in on your favorite podcasting platforms, whether it's Anchor, Spotify, Google, Apple, or whatever the fuck you guys want to listen to on podcast stuff. And of course, subscribe on the YouTube channel for some more fun and goodness coming at you. This week, I feel like it's going to be freaking crazy as far as content goes, right? Because we got the makeup no bucks given that we all owed, that me and Basement kind of owed and slept, or I slept with. I owed and slept through.
You and Gina.
I was there was like Basement was actually alert.
I was there.
Myself and JP sat up and watched the menu.
Oh, how was that?
It's the movie is better than what I expected it to be, and I'm very happy that they labeled it a comedy horror.
I was to say I kind of got the vibe it was comedy horror from just the trailer. So I'm glad it. I heard some good things too about it too. That it was like better than a lot of anticipation. But speaking of anticipation, we're going to be wrapping up Phase 4 of the MCU with Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. As far as, obviously, Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania is literally the next movie coming out, literally the week we're doing this episode. As far as how that's going to play out in the future with the Marvel Roundtable, for those of you who may have not heard, we're going to be moving on to a different franchise once as of maybe, I don't know about next week, next month. Heather's the one in charge of that one. We're going to be doing a Harry Potter Roundtable, which I'm really looking forward to. That's going to be a whole lot of fun. And Heather's got the full total reins on that one. And basically, whenever it comes to Marvel stuff, we'll kind of revisit the Marvel Roundtable whenever a movie or show comes out. And, Basement doesn't want to kill me after dragging him out through his own, through this. That freaking icon of yours is just really throwing me off, Basement. I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm. You like it?
I do. Is that bad? So I guess we'll talk about a couple things right off the bat as far as this movie goes. Let's address the elephant in the room as far as Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Obviously, the biggest thing with this was the announcement that this movie was still going to go on without Chadwick Boseman. The last time that he was accredited for anything in the Marvel Cinematic Universe was the amazing series known as What If. That was the last time he was credited in a final role. There were test shots done with this movie. So there's actually a couple of clips in the movie of him doing like test shots for this movie. And in fact, the director and screenwriter said that the script for this movie with Chadwick Boseman, with the idea of him being in the movie as T'Challa, Black Panther, was literally completed. I believe it was either the day before or the day he died. So literally they had the entire script already set and done, ready for him to take on the role and kind of continue on with this franchise, but obviously was not meant to be. I'm gonna, obviously the big thing that we're gonna talk about majority of this time, and we're gonna reference so many times in this, is how the movie is essentially it's a farewell, a love letter, much like how Spider-Man was a love letter to all the Spider-Man movies. This is a love letter to Chadwick Boseman. This is like an homage to him. It's an honorary of him. Throwing this out there right now, just because we might as well start this off. You think the movie did good by him?
By Chadwick himself, yes. As for the Black Panther part of the franchise, no.
I like the beginning, like the first 15 minutes or whatever, where they
Explain his passing.
Explaining his passing, and the Marvel Studios intro. After that, no. I mean, it's not against like him or anything. I just don't like the direction they went with the entirety of the storyline, the character of Black Panther, and because like that, I find the characters like we're starting to get to the place where they're just all replaceable. It's just not the right fit. I do not like the person that takes up the helm. It just I feel the same way about her as I feel about Falcon turning into Captain America. Mm-hmm. I don't believe they have the ability to carry the movie. There are better choices.
Okay, so
even within this movie, there's a better choice, or I would have preferred.
Who?
Anybody. No, I would have went with like honestly, I probably would have preferred Lupita as Black Panther. At least she looks like she can fight.
Yeah. She looks like she could act.
Lupita Nyong'o or whatever her name is. She's Black Panther's girlfriend. Completely forgot about from the first movie, but yeah.
Yeah, she looks like she could handle the role of being the protector a lot better. Plus, she's had the fucking training.
And she's a better actor. Yeah, or him. But if they're gonna go with a woman, I would have went with her, or even like.
Okoye.
Though I don't think. Yeah, even though I don't really want that. She does fit the role better. But I would like. In the end, they went with I think the worst choice. I mean, like prevailing winds would ruin her.
Prevailing winds would ruin her. No, I mean I don't. Okay, so let me back up this. So when you guys saw the trailer for this, I think a lot of people, and I don't usually talk about this, right? I usually don't talk about the trailers in hand because the trailers can be extremely fucking misleading. Especially Marvel's been known to kind of like tweak and do some stuff with trailers that weren't right in the movie, whatever. But there was obviously a massive amount of hype for this, not just because it's another Marvel movie, but because more so of Chadwick and how, like, you know, this film had a lot of hush-hush to it. You hear a lot of different, like, speculation about different Marvel movies and different franchises and what's going to happen. And I know everyone, including Basement, was clamoring over She-Hulk.
I still am.
But Heather too. So, but this one was very quiet. There really wasn't a whole lot of like rumors or gossip behind it in terms of how, leaks, stories, whatever have you. I kind of attribute some of that to being like it's such a somewhat sensitive thing about Chadwick and how they're going to handle the franchise and everything like that. Do you think the question I'm trying to ask is, do you think it was overhyped? This is going to sound really disrespectful. Do you think it was overhyped because of his passing?
Yes, and I do think they really bordered on overindulgence of his passing
to
carry the movie.
Yeah,
which it's right on the border, and almost a step insulting, maybe like a toe in the insulting category, because of how they used it so much. Like the movie completely relies on it, where you can't get past. I want to see at this point. we all it's a, what, a year. It was how long after he passed that this movie came out?
Let's see. Like in
A
real
year
life
and a
or
half?
in
Yeah, like in real life, like a year and a half, 2 years, something like that.
I think
let,
it's 2 years.
yeah, I'd have to look. Let me see if I can pull it up. But continue.
So like, I mean, the way that they portray it, and I know it's in the storyline, but they also skip ahead a year in the story too. It's just like a lot of the struggles that Shuri has, we didn't see enough in the past outside of them just blatantly saying, "Oh, it's a sister," so she has to care so much, right?
Right.
But it was never. It's telling, not showing. They can't show because it's impossible now. But then why hinge so much of the story on it? And that I mean, some of it worked, some of it didn't. I would have preferred them do the first 15 minutes and then do their own movie, which they
Started
kind
to.
of did.
Started
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Just FYI, he passed away August 28th, 2020, and obviously the film came out in November of 2022. So you figure maybe a year for production and everything like that. And I'll throw this to Heather too. I want to hear her thoughts, but also just throw it out there as far as what supposedly the original plan was for the movie was that Namor, which we'll get to, was still supposed to be the antagonist, but the idea being is that T'Challa was supposed to figure out how to reassimilate himself to the world, and more so Wakanda, for being gone for 5 years because he was snapped out of existence.
He's got the same problem 50% of people in the world have.
Yep.
I mean, it's hard to say with that little topic how, like, that little information, how that movie could have played out.
I know. I mean, but anyway, Heather, your thoughts?
They did play too much into his passing, and it was way too gratuitous in using that in getting the hype for the movie. And with the trailer itself, I feel they went too far with it. They never should have let it be known in the trailer that she was indeed going to be the next Black Panther. Granted, yes, we learned from the first Black Panther movie that it's going to follow the line of the royalty. However, it still could have been Lupita taking up the mantle because of what we learn at the end of the movie. So
she's probably the thing I like the least in this movie.
Which is funny because it is comic accurate. I had to do some digging about that too, because I wasn't 100% sure if it was a MCU adaptation or a comic adaptation, but it was a comic, so it does take place. But I get where you guys are coming from that too.
It's not the character. It's the way the character. Well, it's with the way the character's portrayed, the writing, and I guess the actress. None of it really works for me. For her, she just seems out of place. Everybody else is doing much better. Every other role is performed better than hers.
Right.
It also goes back to the first movie with her. I mean, she was always the quick wit one that always had the funny comments.
She's supposed to be the girl on the computer.
Yes.
That's what she's supposed to be.
She's the man in the chair.
Do you think? I personally, the one thing I will give them also, despite the iffiness of how they're handling it, I will give them credit that they did not use any chance to use any deep fakes or actually inject him in like digitally.
That would have been super insulting if they did that, right? Like this soon after.
Yeah.
But and I didn't even point this out. Heather, you brought it up. The fact that the trailer really pushed that narrative, and then the movie did it the first 15 minutes, which was perfectly fine. Then it swayed away from it, and then it went right back to it. It's like we weren't given a chance.
Remembering that he's dead.
The thing is,
let the characters shine on their own for once. Forget T'Challa for more than 5 minutes.
I feel like this movie didn't need to happen for where we ended up at the end of it.
Wakanda or never.
Wakanda takes forever.
Oh shit! I see 5 minutes in the movie, and I'm like, this is probably the longest fucking movie ever, isn't it? All right, have a good night, guys.
Take it easy.
Close. So, shit. Now I was gonna say something I completely got. Damn it!
I got like 7 pages of notes on this shit.
You do?
It was just the raving of an angry man.
All right, that note, let's just get this potty started. What's up, Cody? And of course, I mentioned Alpha and Federico earlier. I don't know what the hell is wrong with me. My brain is just mush as it usually is. So just apologies if I'm a little all over the place here. So of course, we start off the movie with T'Challa, King of Wakanda, is dying from an illness which his sister Shuri believes can be cured by a heart-shaped herb. Shuri attempts to synthetically recreate the herb after it was destroyed by Eric Killmonger, but fails to do so before T'Challa dies. Now, going back to what
doesn't make sense.
What?
Am I the only one that thought this didn't make any sense?
What do you mean?
No.
Because he's already Black Panther. Why does he need another herb?
He already has the heart-shaped herb in him.
Well, clearly it wasn't working.
Oh, you need to become Black Panther again. Well, you're already Black Panther.
You need to be Blacker
okay.
Pantherer. No, you know what?
It didn't make sense. But
I get it. But the back and forth with all the back and forth, I think we're going to be all on about like how they handle it. I think that this was the best way to handle his passing, in the sense of he's passed. He's all right, cool. Let's have the moment. Let's impact it. Boom, and then right into the intro. I know that we linger on it a lot, and I'm kind of on the fence about it, to be honest with you, as far as, because like on one hand, it's the elephant in the fucking room. They're gonna keep referencing it the entire movie, and I knew that going into it, because that's what the whole, like, for lack of a better phrase, that's what the marketing's based off of, right? So I knew that was gonna have to be a chunk of it, if not, at least half of it, but I thought at least the very beginning was handled very, very, and the part, I don't know if you guys noticed, but there was no music either. It was dead quiet.
During the Marvel Studios intro. With
even during,
him.
I'm pretty sure even during the opening scene, right? There was no
then they went into
noise,
like song and dance while they were carrying his coffin. There's definite scumminess at play. Is all I can say for making money off his death, because that's exactly what's happening in this movie. Kind of, and it's very hard to do it respectfully, to pay homage to someone while going to the bank, and it's very hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, what did you think about the intro, Heather, going over the opening sequence?
The opening sequence was good in the fact that they never showed him.
Mm-hmm.
And never did any kind of the CGI effects, because we all know it would have been fucking terrible. But again, it's one of those things of we already know he's dead, and we already know that you're gonna have the funeral scene. Can we get to that part already? Because her trying to synthesize this flower, this herb, so that they can try and heal him, even though it's already in his fucking system to begin with. It's over redundant, in my point.
What if it's a situation where they just needed more of it?
Yeah, because he does only drink a certain amount.
If they needed more for anything other than trying to heal him,
yeah,
I would have been fine with it.
But you know what? This is the biggest problem that exists in this movie. It's there seems to be like things
you're gonna say that
they
phrase a lot, but go ahead.
No, well, it's going to be the same thing that after this for other things, but it's still the same. They seem to have these items that just do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was never established that the flower heals you from dying of terrible illnesses. It just turns you into a superpowered person. Therefore, you should already have. Well, he already has that. So this is like where the waters get a bit murky with it making any sense.
Doesn't save you from explosions in buildings, though.
It's not just this part. And this is also why I hate the idea that she can now synthesize making superhumans.
Well,
don't tell Zemo.
As we saw in this opening scene, it took a lot for her to get to 29% there.
I know, but
it took finding something later on in the movie for it to get fully there,
which was just ridiculous as well. When we get to it, they basically just erase everything that happened in the first movie.
Yeah, in the movie. Yeah.
I saw someone online point out that's like, wow, this is a fucking Disney movie, and they're like, what do you mean? They're like, well, notice how there's like this can't be done at the beginning of the movie, and then it can be done at the end of the movie, and it's like, fuck, that is a Disney trope in some of these movies.
There's a scene later on that is 1000% Disney. like over the top of where
There's
come
more than
come into my world. I'm like, oh my god,
There is. More than one.
is this the Little Mermaid?
Wish I could be Avatar. The way of the water.
It does go in that direction. Still the best part of the movie. The first 15 minutes, I think, were the best part of the movie. In all honesty.
So we flash forward to 1 year later. So presumably so this is fucking Marvel timeline. God damn it. So we presume that everything that happened with his passing happened relatively soon after Endgame, but they don't really.
They don't explain shit.
Fucking
That's
Pepe
the problem.
Pepe Sylvia. I'm telling you, doing research for this stuff. Well,
This is just terrible.
Anyway, 1 year later, Wakanda is now under pressure from other nations to share their vibranium, with some parties attempting to steal it by force. Queen Ramonda implores Shuri to continue her research on the herb, hoping to create a new Black Panther that will defend Wakanda, but she refuses to do so due to her belief that the Black Panther is a figure of the past. Okay, just
I've got big problems.
Yeah.
With this.
hold on. In the Atlantic Ocean, the CIA and U.S. Navy SEALs utilize a vibranium detector to locate a potential vibranium deposit underwater. So I'm going to
Problems with that too.
stop right there.
Pause it right there, please.
Okay.
Yes.
So, okay. I sort of like the idea that, first off, I kind of obviously glossed over it, but the funeral scene. It was beautiful. It was gorgeous. The music was something. The emotion was there. Too long.
Yeah.
That's every scene in this movie.
Shut up. I know, but I'm trying to be respectful. Okay. Everything about it, like the dancing, the imagery, the white coloring, everything about it was beautiful. But there were parts of it that were just like, just cut that out. Just cut that part.
But I started looking at like the individual dancers, and some of them fucking cracked me up. There's this one guy on the left side that was just like hardly moving, but he was like this
And then
biggest
there's
smile in
another
the
one
world.
like deeper in the crowd that's like doing his own thing. Like we practice this in choreography, people. Let's go all together. Fuck you.
Yeah, who gives a shit? I'm too far back at the camera.
I'm the 17th man back. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. My claim to fame.
Oh,
Look at me
God.
move.
Fucking internet
Look at me
meme.
go.
But beautiful funeral scene. Although I'm still confused. And it's been I might forget. Why did they have him get sucked up by a UFO?
Yeah, I was confused too. I'm like, why is he going up into the air?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't get it either.
I know I saw the movie in theaters 4 months ago, but I'm like, that part I'm like,
I'm so confused by
why?
the same held true for the first movie. I'm so confused by everything going on. It's like a mix of tribal and alien technology.
Yes.
It's such a strange combination that in my mind makes no sense.
Welcome to Marvel. The thing I like about this, though, now that we're kind of fast forwarding a little bit to the whole like Queen Ramonda in front of like the UN and all that stuff, there's kind of part of that I like, in the sense of, hey, T'Challa's whole thing was he wanted to open Wakanda to the world and be more out there and be a peacekeeper, not like hold things back, which was kind of it was kind of fucking the main theme of the first movie, which
So let's forget about that. Because like that's what happens.
That's right.
Like,
To be fair,
okay, I'm telling
to be
you.
fair, he never said he would share the full amount of resources. He built technology centers to help train children and educate children and all of that. Yes.
right.
But
tell you,
vibranium was never specifically mentioned to be part of it.
Wakanda is the bad guys.
Well, yeah.
They agreed to share their technology and then didn't. Their technology is life-saving. They have told basically the rest of the population, well, you don't get it, you can die. We have plants that allow you to heal from super illnesses, apparently,
They
but no,
don't.
you don't get them.
Not at that point.
Well, they will. They will, and
no longer.
give it 5 days, they'll have it. Also, vibranium, which seems to be a dual What the fuck is vibranium? It was introduced as but it can't be caught in metal detector, and it's not just metal because it's also beads that electronically connect people.
Yeah,
like it's everything.
That's what the Wakandans did with them.
Okay,
you know what kind of beads they did with them.
That's part of their technology.
It does everything. It's not just a metal.
Right.
It's literally everything. And if they're not sharing that with the world, then what are they sharing?
They shared it with somebody outside because isn't that what's on Wolverine's skeleton?
That is
adamantium.
That is adamantium. You know, another made up metal by Marvel.
But
we'll get there when we get there.
It's just I don't know, man. They never explain anything. Vibranium is everything.
Here's the thing. I kind of like the fact that they close it up because it's kind of creepy eyes. I actually like that because it's like, well, hey, Black Panther's dead, so you guys think you just come in and fucking take vibranium whenever you want. Like, no, that's not how this works. And it kind of, you're right. It basically is like fuck the first movie in a way, but there is. It's something about coming from Queen Ramonda makes it feel like it feels.
It looks like she could bench. She looks like she could bench press me.
Well, that
too.
But it's more like if it came from anybody else, it would be like, what the fuck? This is bullshit. Like, you know, your king just like took it away. But the fact that it's the mother, the queen, stepping in, it feels more personal. If that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
I'm telling you, if you rewatch this movie and think just in your mind, go with Wakanda as the bad guys, you'll see it multiple times. Dora Milaje or whatever, they all show up and they're like, we do whatever we want, wherever we want. It's like, okay.
Well,
I'm gonna calm down.
I mean, that's the Talak Cohens, but we'll get to there.
No, that's what in that scene when they show up with a bunch of French soldiers.
No,
wherever we are.
Right, but I'm saying is I think the Talak Khan is basically what Wakanda was in the first movie, but we'll get there. But I didn't mind this so. But I didn't mind this so much, even with the Dora Milaje doing whatever the fuck they want because they kicked Captain America's ass.
Like if it was anybody else, they'd be like, man, these are the bad guys. It's so.
And actually, that was actually a Wakandan-owned research facility that they broke into.
Mm-hmm.
So they were protecting their property.
Yeah,
it's all for us and none for you. All for us and none for you.
They don't need to share shit anymore.
Like, I'm gonna create penicillin, but you ain't gonna get it.
Right.
We're keeping that here. They're terrible.
What's up, RKH in the chat? What's going on? It's the. Are you sure they're not the bad guy? No, he's not the bad guy. So anyway, he's getting shot down by these terrorists. He stole plutonium from. Oh my god. I'm not disagreeing with anything you say because I did kind of that did creep in my head a little bit when I was watching the scene. I'm like, they're good.
It's just a matter of perspective.
Correct. Yeah. But my point is that I think the reason I accepted it a little bit more was because it came from Queen Ramonda. So right or wrong, she had more of an emotional tie to it. It's like, no, you're not going to have this is ours because, you know, my son's already gone. Kind of. I got more emotion out of her speech than I did anything else, even if it was.
That opening speech of my son is gone because he opened our doors to you people.
Right.
Which is not true.
Correct. I understand that.
But
she's a grieving mother, though. Basically,
I know. But there's a theme that goes on later in this too that makes no sense with fucking Shuri as well. She has the same sentiment. It's like, oh, I want to burn the world down because he died of cancer. What?
No, we don't know that. We don't know what he died.
We don't know what Black Panther
it was an illness.
Died of.
Yeah,
it was an illness.
Mm-hmm.
So what did they send him? Smallpox blankets? Are you gonna blame the rest of the world for an illness?
Illness that suddenly came over him and killed him.
Anyway, it was indigestion. So anyway,
if it was cancer, they probably would have had a better shot at curing.
But to hinge like people's, I don't know. It's like, come on, man. Yeah, I want to burn the world down because he died of a disease. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
It's grief. Grief doesn't make sense sometimes.
No, but wanting to kill everybody on the planet because your brother died of cancer or a disease.
I mean, there's.
It's a stretch, and it's a stretch to make the movie make sense.
Basement. I'm gonna put it to you this way: My mom died the day after Christmas. I now don't want anybody to celebrate Christmas.
That's still not the same as killing everybody on the planet.
Close. The point. Well, here's the thing. It's like, yeah, wanting to. Okay. Does she actually take measurements to want to watch the world? Does Shuri actually do anything in the movie to try to make the world burn?
Well, it's Namor's whole fucking reasoning to
right.
give
That's
her time.
Namor, because Namor is a fucking winged freak that he doesn't have any love.
She almost does.
She wait, when?
Well, it's like, oh, you're gonna choose vengeance over.
Yeah, when they have a conversation. But I'm talking about like actual actions that go towards. Because my point is that like it's one thing to be in a moment of grief and be rageful and feel that way, but it's obviously a completely fucking different thing to act on that rage. And she doesn't do anything to act on it. If anything, she backpedals. Obviously, that's the kind of the.
I still think it would have worked more if he was killed by said enemies. The whole story would make more sense if it wasn't an illness that killed him.
You're saying if it was more of a direct correlation between his death and as a result of him opening the borders from the first movie.
Yes, because that's the way this movie would make sense, way more sense, at least to me.
Okay, I can buy that.
Because otherwise they erased the first movie in place of what happens in this one.
I can accept that. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. If it was like, well, I mean, you could make the argument that was the case. Like, he wouldn't have gotten this illness if he just stayed in Wakanda. But we'll get there. The vibranium detector.
Oh God! Don't even get me started on this.
All right, cool. We'll just skip it.
I just have one question.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it she's the first one to think of that and not Tony Stark?
He's dead.
Tony Stark has had plenty of time to think of this shit.
They didn't
she
know.
Also didn't. She made it by accident, which is the stupidest thing.
No, she was commissioned to make it.
No, she made it for her metallurgy class in college.
Okay.
And it just so happens to detect vibranium.
Okay, so a couple. That part pisses me off more than anything else. It's just it happens to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the
I was like, how does she make something to detect vibranium when she doesn't have the vibranium to use to detect? Anyways.
So, what I was trying to say was... Great, now I can't fucking remember what I was going to say. God damn it! No, the vibranium detection. Tony Stark wouldn't have known... It was not publicly known until after the Black Panther movie that they had an abundance of vibranium in Wakanda. The only vibranium, according to them, that they knew of that was on the planet is in Cap's shield up until that point. And then Infinity War happened.
Which Tony Stark made. Actually, which Howard Stark made.
Right. So it wasn't until the Black Panther movie that he revealed, hey, look at all this shit we've got here, all this vibranium we got here. So, yeah, Tony could have made that device probably to be able to find it, but he didn't know that there was any other vibranium in the fucking world until kind of too little too late. Whoopsie.
Like the whole vibranium detector thing is such a big plot point in this movie, and
it's a way to further.
It's absolutely.
I know.
Retarded.
I said the same thing. I'm like, this is just a way to like kind of like connect dots and just like kind of slowly push things along.
Because they're gonna get to a point where Namor's like, give me the scientist. Well, if they have the machine,
that is.
It's like, I don't know. You can't put the fucking rabbit back in the hat.
Well, unless you're Doctor Strange. So, I will say this though: the idea that like these mysterious blue-skinned people, which I thought were avatars, and Namor attacked the scientists. Pretty fun, weird, but fun.
It was a neat introduction to them. I like the idea that they had like a siren song, which works like into mythology.
I thought that was fucking awesome out of everything.
Yeah, that was a cool idea, and it was a neat visual for the people to just walk up and fucking jump off. And it's like, damn,
man, can you do that in like the city and just see how that fucking goes? Go up the stairs.
No, it was
Do a flip.
It was an interesting introduction to them. I'm kind of confused about the people, the Talorcan, whatever the fuck they're called.
Talocans.
Because like they're not blue underwater.
Correct.
They're blue out of water.
Correct.
And I was thinking because they can't breathe regular air.
Yep.
That's why they're blue. Yet they're out there with their like fucking rebreathers on. You'd think they wouldn't be blue unless they were breathing.
So there is one. There's one part about this that I'm like, this is. You're gonna hear me say this a lot. I'm torn, right? So we might as well get this out of the way now, and we'll get to it. But fuck it, we're on this part now anyway. And let's face it, we're gonna be here for a while. We didn't know, like I said, we didn't know much about the movie going into it, other than we knew that Namor was gonna be the antagonist, and that presumably he would be the king of Atlantis, because in the comics, Namor is the king of Atlantis. And instead of making them all Atlanteans, he made them mutants. So he himself is a mutant. Technically speaking, so are the Talocans. Because they took that weird, yummy fruit.
Yeah, I think it was just leaves or some shit that they ate.
Actually, I think it was a heart-shaped herb.
It's just... the real reason why they're blue, so you can tell them apart from Wakandans. I can tell you that in the fight scenes. That's the whole reason that they're blue.
Oh well,
we need to make them look different. So how are you going to do it? Make them blue, or make them look like because they're technically all wearing like tribal outfits. So like, what the fuck? It's so confusing because they eat the herb, they lose the ability to breathe air, and have to go underwater to live. Yet the woman that eats the herb, her baby, can breathe anywhere and grows feet, wings. That's a very different. It's like the exact opposite. It's like, yes, now you can fly.
Okay,
Everybody else has to live underwater.
Here's the thing. You're also talking about like, hey, here's a guy who has powers that he's able to manipulate anything magnetic or metal, and he's going to give birth to 2 kids, one who's a fucking sorceress supreme who can bend the will of reality, and one who is really fucking fast.
Yeah, I guess it's just like a roulette that happens, but I mean, it's pretty kind of like.
I get it. It's
when it's feet wings.
I know, bang my head on a brick wall. I know, but what I will say is that like the idea of them, flipping it on its head a little bit, so that they're not Atlanteans, they're Talocans, which is a offshoot of a Latino or a Latin tribe, in like the Mexican region. I really dug that because one, I mean, yeah, like I know Wakanda's a fake country and everything like that and blah, blah, blah. But to be able to like, one of the reasons that we talked about before that Wakanda was so, in my opinion anyway, was so successful and so intriguing was because they were able to like weave culture into it, right? African culture into it. And they're kind of doing the same thing with the Talocans with Latin culture.
They're like Mayans.
It's Mayan and Aztec culture. I fucking loved that. I thought that was really, really neat, especially where there was a stalemate at the end of the whole thing, so it's just like nobody really lost, but we'll get there.
That was.
Well, I have a big problem with that, and we'll get there. But just for me personally, I thought that was really cool to see like the headdresses, the feathers,
and this movie are incredible.
The what?
Like the costume work in this movie is fucking 10 out of 10.
Yep.
Costume work and like some of the I know it's mostly CGI, but like the places that they build, the underwater city and even like Wakanda, it's very. I like the way they look, so I'll give them credit where credit is due. But that's where it stopped.
That's where the credit stops.
There's a part that did you catch this too? Because it's what we're covering on. They're leaving. I guess they're leaving the Wakanda border, and it like cuts to these guys playing drums on like on water. I'm like, what is this? How you exit? What the fuck is
It
that?
is how they exit. So Heather was just saying that like with the detecting vibranium stuff, and it's like kind of whatever. But the introduction of the Talokans, I mean, we'll get to it a little bit more. But I was just saying that like I like the fact that it's we didn't know. We assumed it was Atlanteans based off of the trailer because that's what it is in the comics. And I'm glad that, one, it's not Atlanteans because, I mean, I know Wakanda's fake, but still. And the fact that it's, like, woven into Mayan Aztec culture, much like how Wakandan culture is woven, or African culture is woven into there. I thought it was fucking genius. I thought it was very smart.
I'm going to say right now, that scene at the very beginning on that carrier, my first thought is Little Mermaid. How it should have been, with them doing the song,
whistling
to
and having them
lure
jump
the
off.
people off of the boat and jump into the water on their own volition.
Do a flip.
But yeah, and then they jumped out of the water. Oh, now it's Avatar. Okay.
Yeah, you did get a lot of Avatar vibes. I did.
Oh, remind me to show you the honest trailer for this later, and there's literally the last like big joke is them comparing it side by side. We'll get there. So anyway, we see outside of right near the border of the edge of Wakanda, we see that Namor is introducing himself after this somewhat heart-to-heart talk between Ramonda and Shuri over letting go of the past, and letting go of grief. Which, again, I'm fucking torn on this. Like, on one hand, I appreciate what they're trying to say, but to Basement's point, it's like it kind of goes against what we just saw with Ramonda in the UN, which it's
and her behavior for the rest of the movie.
It's a very messy movie where things don't really make a lot of sense. And let me tell you this scene with Shuri and
Ramonda.
What's her name? Ramonda. You could have replaced Lupita with Shuri and have the exact same conversation. Even better, she lost her husband, and we find out later more. Like it seems like it should be stronger bonds between her and him than brother and sister, or just as strong.
Like vibranium strong.
Well, everything. So
like anal bead strong. Anyway, so Namor confronts Ramonda and Shuri, easily bypassing Wakanda's advanced security. He blames Wakanda for the vibranium, vibranium arms, and race to get it. And he gives them an ultimatum: deliver him the scientist responsible for the vibranium detector, or he will start open attacking Wakanda. Which, to me, is very ass backwards in my opinion. But I mean, like.
It doesn't.
Well, not really, because he also made the threat of having a massive army. So that's it, and the fact that he was able to get within their lands without alerting any of their security.
Right. No, I get that, but the part that I'm still kind of like wrapping my head around is like, oh, well, actually, it does make sense because I was saying like, why would he go after Wakanda for a piece of technology that humans made, but realistically, Wakanda's borders were opened up because of T'Challa, so maybe they might have a connection, and he sees it as their fault because they're the ones that like made vibranium a more namesake in the world, I guess, or more.
Yeah,
I like Namor. I don't give a shit. That's my hill to die on. I like him.
He is the least intimidating villain I've ever seen. He
I
comes out of the water,
I don't
flapping his feet wings, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Not as a villain. Not as a villain, but as an actor and visually.
I don't mind the actor. I hate the way he looks.
Really?
I like how he portrayed the so-called villain or antagonist that is supposed to be for this movie until a certain point. And even after that certain point, it's just like...
I don't buy him as a villain whatsoever.
It's like gearing up to be part of like Caravana or some shit, man. Wearing little speedos, like he just doesn't. He doesn't look great. That's all I'm gonna say. His character doesn't look intimidating. He doesn't look like he rage war on anybody.
He's not supposed to.
He looks like Hermes.
It's not even just that he doesn't look intimidating. He doesn't sound intimidating. He sounds like, come over for dinner or we will attack you.
I think. I think that's I think that's part of it. I never, even when I first saw him for like trailer and teasers and stuff, I never saw him as a villain. And realistically, Namor is not supposed to be. He's kind of I know the fucking comparison's going to be to Aquaman is fucking obvious and long going, but like for a while in the comics, Aquaman was kind of neutral. Like he wasn't for anything, like he was more good than anything, but he wasn't like the first one to like put his neck out there as far as like I'll make sure to come to your aid for whatever reason. He was more protective of his people, and that's kind of what I got from him, and that's kind of why I liked him a little bit, was because he's not I have never referred to him, nor will I ever in the MCU, as a villain. Antagonist is the best description I can use, because he's not a villain, and if he is a villain, he's fucking really, really shitty at his job.
He also, like, all of his threats are pretty hollow, because it's like, well, I'm going to take over the world and kill everybody. I'm like, man, how are you going to fight in the middle of like a fucking landlocked state? Good luck.
Yeah.
Everybody can't breathe. You fucking throw
Curses.
a dolphin at someone.
Defeated by Colorado.
It's that, and it's like they keep referring to like Wakanda as this like the world's superpower. I'm like, it's a city, and that's it. And they fight with fucking spears and shields.
It's a fucking village.
Like I just like, yeah, they have the most precious resource that they don't trade to anybody. They fight with fucking spears and shields.
Yeah, those spears are fucking.
Well,
The right
just nuke them. It's just like the things that they tried to portray. It's just it holds no water after like thinking about it for more than 10 seconds. And I find like Namor, he's the guy that wants to like protect his people. He wants to keep his people safe, but his idea on how to do that is just fucking retarded, because they already know where the vibranium is. They pinpointed it. It's like, no, well, we killed the people on that ship. They fucking called it in.
What's up, Frank?
It's over, Namor. It's over.
Shout out to Frank for the Harsh Truth show. Make sure you give him some love on his channel. He said he thought that Namor was a good villain, other than Thanos, who could really strike fear in the Wakandans. I can't tell if there's sarcasm implied in that comment, but like I said, I never saw him as a villain. I saw him as a antagonist and someone who could challenge the Wakandans, but I never saw him as a massive threat, more like a pain in the ass more than anything.
He just makes bad decision after bad decision after bad decision.
Well, we'll get there in a second, but again, we're going to do an abridged version because this movie has already been long enough. So Shuri and Okoye learn from CIA agent good old-fashioned white boy Everett K. Ross that the scientist in question is an MIT student named Riri Williams, and arrive at the university to confront her. Can I just say, personally, as a Massachusetts boy, clearly, my jaw hit the floor when I saw not only exactly where they went to, but yeah, that the bridge that they filmed the fight scene on. I work not too far from there, to be honest with you. So I'm like, oh, I know that place. But anyway, so they confront Riri Williams, who is a genius prodigy child, or genius child prodigy, easy me fucking say. And then the group is pursued by the FBI and then Namor's warriors, who I'm paraphrasing here because there's a lot of this in between, but basically there's this giant car chase in between, and Riri looks like she developed a prototype version of an Iron Man suit. Stop getting so excited, Basement. We see a giant car chase scene, all that fun stuff. We see that the pursuit going back and forth, finally landing on a bridge, where we see a bunch of Namor's warriors challenge Okoye and Shuri, with finally Shuri saying that she will surrender herself along with Riri Williams to the people of Talokan. Again, just this whole scene went a little too long. This whole
I just want to preface this with the cop saying, "Oh shit, she built an Iron Man suit."
Oh god, that's terrible. There's more, way more.
There's way more.
This whole thing. I mean, fucking Shuri saying we need to split up. Okoye saying you are the princess. You are sitting your ass next to me. And then There's an entire YouTube channel dedicated to sightings of me. Can we bring the ego down just a smidge? Just a smidge. I mean, you are the black female little girl version of Tony Stark right now, and we only just fucking met your ass.
Sorry. Sorry, Heather. Frank commented in the chat, I'm serious, this is the only guy that can run with the Wakandans. They took out a French hit squad in the beginning of the movie. Who else on Earth can beat them? I mean, there's a bunch, but I love how Basement immediately comments after he gets captured by a flying oven.
Exactly what happens. Now, this movie is 2 hours and 40 plus minutes, and they have the time to have a mosquito bug directed. Why was that even part of the movie?
What?
He's running.
Yep.
He's running, and a little mosquito bug goes in front of him, and he's like, "Oh, okay." And then he follows it into the forest, and they just show up in business casual wear.
Because
Why? The movie's 2 hours and 40 minutes.
It had to get him to the right spot.
Couldn't they just fucking show up?
No, he needed to know where the mesquite go.
I hate it. On top of what everything that happens next. They go and visit her in her dorm, and she reveals that I made this in my metallurgy class, and
the professor said I couldn't do it.
And she's like, well, Black in America. I'm like, oh, fuck off, really. Just like you don't need to. When you constantly talk about race, is just annoying. Just move on. And her character was fucking horrendous. I will never watch a movie with her as the lead. I hated her more than I hated Shuri in this movie. Riri Williams was so annoying.
Well, get ready, because she's going to have her own show. So,
that's a skip for me.
Yeah.
Well, also, what was up with that room? There's like 7,000 windows. Did anybody else catch that shit?
What, in her garage?
Go back and go back and look at her dorm room.
Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, MIT is a lot of windows.
There was a stupid amount of windows.
It was. It's true. It's accurate.
So she's like a college student.
As a non-MIT graduate from Massachusetts, I can confirm that there are a shit ton of windows in the dorms of the college I've never been to.
So she was a college student.
Mm-hmm.
And she also had access to a mechanic's hangar.
Yep.
Where she kept all of her expensive material that she somehow had money for.
Yep.
And made it a point to say that she's gotten locked out of her own encryption system that took her a whole semester to crack to get back into. Honey, you built it.
Now you guys are talking.
Is she a millionaire?
No. She's from Chicago. So I will say that the in the bridge fight, the fight sequence between I can't remember his name, the lead, like the second in command for the Talokans and Okoye, I thought that fight was pretty solid.
The fight was pretty good, I'll admit.
That's one thing that will never go wrong with Marvel movies when it's small scale.
Mm-hmm.
Fighting.
We'll
those sequences will never go wrong.
We'll get there.
Small
I did. Oh, did
SMO.
Did Riri Williams kill like a bunch of police?
I don't think so.
No, it wasn't her.
Someone dropped a flaming something onto a bunch of police, killing all of them.
No, that's fine. They walked it off. It's fine.
They ran away.
Yeah.
Well, ain't nobody.
They ran away on fire.
Ain't nobody running away from that explosion.
Oh God! Back in Wakanda, angered by Okoye's failure to protect Shuri, Ramonda strips Okoye of her title as General of the Dora Milaje and seeks out Nakia, who had been living in Haiti since the blip. Namor shows Shuri his vibranium-rich underwater kingdom of Talokan, which he has protected for centuries from discovery by the world. Bitter at the surface world for enslaving the Maya, Namor proposes an alliance with Wakanda against the rest of the world, but threatens to destroy Wakanda if they refuse. Okay, let's back up a little bit here. So first off,
the scene just after this, where
we'll get
yeah,
yeah,
we'll get there. I had this is where I first sat there and said, oh yeah, Marvel trope.
So first off, I think Angela Bassett's the best actress in this whole thing, right?
I actually have that as a note right here.
Yeah, she's getting
She's
nominated. She's nominated for an Oscar, and you know,
She's gonna win it for this. 100%.
normally I kind of am like, okay, but fucking A, she is the MVP of this fucking movie, and rightfully. I was an Angela Bassett fan even before this, and even before the first Black Panther. So I mean, she crushes it in every fucking scene. I just want to be very okay. Cool, we're on the same page with that. The scene with her and the Dora Milaje with this part is actually probably my favorite scene with her, because she's fucking tapped. She's broken. She's like, as far as I know, my daughter's dead. My son's dead. Like it's the quote from the trailer. Like,
everything.
Yeah, have I not given everything?
Part of it is her fault. So I'm going to take it out on her where I feel it belongs.
And it's hurting because she knows that there's like a closeness there too. It's such a fucking.
It's another scene that's too good for the movie it's in, to be honest.
Yes. Agreed.
I have a question though. You know, like the blue people, right? On the bridge scene, she kills them and they come back to life. Did they ever say how or why?
I'm just saying anything at this point in time.
No, like because I swear they killed them later on in the movie, and
maybe later on.
And I'm like, I just don't understand why these ones came back. She stabs one through the fucking stomach, but I guess that's just like a flesh wound in this movie.
Yeah, don't you know? I was gonna say that happens again later on in the movie, which we'll get there.
Ain't no thing.
Yeah, just walk it off. Just walk it off.
Conor.
Yeah.
You know what Namor is backwards? Donna. It's set the tableau.
Under the water. Oh my God! Fucking Namor is Roman Reigns. I knew it. The tribal chief of the Talokan. Visually, Talokan is fucking gorgeous. The whole scene where he's showing Shuri the entire, like, I come the fuck on. That is fucking absolutely beautiful. But I did giggle a little bit of like, we should align, or if you don't, I'm gonna fucking destroy you. Which.
Also, here's my whole story, and here's my mother's band.
Here's my mother's bracelet. You may keep it.
Here's my place.
I met you 3 hours ago.
Like the part that I'm a little like trying to wrap my head around. I'm like, okay, so like you're proposing an alliance, but you also know that like there's a chance that like she's gonna say no. So let me show you everything.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
The thing with that was he first went through the life story, and he's like, "I'll take you to see I'd love to see your culture. I'll take you to see it. It's down in the depths where your heart will explode and your bones will be crushed. Or you can have a suit. We have a few."
Terrible. Why isn't everybody else's fucking bones exploding? I guess they all got super strength.
Yeah, exactly.
They are all born off of the plant from the vibranium.
What do you guys?
I thought he was like specifically special in that respect.
He ingested it through his mother.
Right.
He was born with it in him.
Right.
You got little feet wings.
So couple. I was about to say, let me pivot up because I'm gonna put a pin in this. So two things about that. First of all, Namor's origin story and the origin story of the Talokans.
Off of the Black Panther life, just now it's underwater instead of on land.
I don't mind that.
It was.
I know what you're gonna say, and let me guess. It's cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a movie that's 2 hours and 40 minutes, it's like glossed over. My sentiments exactly.
I kind of like Namor's origin, where he blames humans for being dicks. Like, Wakanda.
Because he came up as a child to bury his mother and happened to see one instance of time.
I don't know. Isn't he like a gajillion years old?
How far removed from society?
That's the other part too. So he says the M word.
Martha.
Why did you say that name? Yes. Mutant. So
yes, he is a mutant.
This is the second time, but the first time in a major film in the MCU that they actually go out of their way to say mutant. Now, I mean, yes, he is a fucking mutant. They do like that's
He's a freak of nature.
Well, no, it's comic accurate and all that stuff, but like, I don't know, something about that was just like the fact.
You know, his character would have worked a lot better if mutants were established and were kind of like
already here,
being held down by the rest of society, because that's his storyline.
You took the words right out of my fucking mouth. Like I felt like this was a subtle, like, we're gonna sneak this in and see whoever catches this. But I agree, and this is one of the reasons why I'm curiously scared of how they're going to introduce mutants into the MCU. Because now it's like, well, okay, well, Miss Marvel's hinted at being a mutant, which cool. I'm fine with the way they're handling that. This fucker's been around since Abraham Lincoln, so it makes me, well, it opens up the door of possibility that there are mutants on Earth when I say underground, obviously not fucking physically, but like underneath the general like public knowledge.
They have.
It's hard to believe.
I know.
They have the full rights to all of the X-Men movies that have already been created now, correct?
With actually, you know what the ironic one is? Namor.
No, I'm talking about the X-Men movies.
Oh yeah.
They're not going to use those.
They already have all the rights to those.
Yep.
They ain't going to use those.
Well, then, how about you sit there and do what you're fucking famous for, Marvel, and retcon them in?
Could at Secret Wars.
Slide them into the timeline where they're supposed to fucking be
during Secret Wars.
Fucking timeline.
I really don't. I think they deserve a fresh start.
I'm with base. I think Secret Wars they
might feature like Wolverine or something.
They'll either do fan service like they did at No Way Home, or they're gonna do like what Heather's suggesting and start to I feel funny, and then like everything's merged together, and then like it's like a Big Bang sequel. But personally, I'm with Basement. Like let's just let's start this whole shit over. Like James Gunn did. But I found it very interesting because maybe they're trying to plant seeds for mutanism in the MCU, which that could go a bunch of different ways, but we'll cross those bridges when we get to them.
The seeds are already planted, but it's in things that are kind of shit.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term, She-Hulk, fucking Miss Marvel, and this.
By the way, fun little fact: Namor is a similar rights situation like Hulk is to MCU.
They can use him in movies, just not a standalone movie.
Correct. Somehow, and I only found this because I'm still doing my research on like the history of the MCU for the Iron Man review. I don't know if that's gonna get done. Hulk and Namor are both owned by Universal. Why they took those two of all of them, I have no idea, but just fun little factoid for y'all. Anyway, so Ramonda insists on getting the help of Nakia. So Nakia helps Shuri and Riri Williams escape, and Namor retaliates with an attack against Wakanda, which, again, visually fucking beautiful. As I'm talking about, an attack and war between countries, during which Ramonda drowns while saving Riri Williams. Namor vows to return with his full army, and the citizens of Wakanda relocate to the Jabari Mountains for their safety. And meanwhile, Ross is arrested by his ex-wife, good old CIA director Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, for secretly exchanging classified intelligence with the Wakandans.
I hated that entire fucking storyline going on the side with Ross and her. It's there to promote another movie.
I was hoping something was going to come of it. Something, anything.
Nothing came of it. It was boring as shit. Why does fucking half these fucking what does half of Wakanda know how to speak ancient Mayan?
Bored
randomly. Like Lupita, it can speak it for some reason. But cool.
Ahead of the
So she was also studied in many different cultures.
table.
What the fuck is learning ancient Mayan randomly? Anyways, other than that, does Namor control water?
No.
I'm gonna say yes because they flood the city somehow.
Okay. It's not really crystal clear in the movie because I think it can control.
They have those water bombs, but that's like
I think those things are fucking badass.
They were, but that's a ridiculous amount of water.
Someone said the most powerful water balloons of fucking mankind.
It's the size of a grenade, but it holds all of the ocean's water.
Listen.
It's vibranium.
Red Sea.
I get it. It's vibranium.
Yeah, exactly. It's vibranium. I think the visual. So the attack on Wakanda was very, again, visually like holy shit.
Made no sense.
They could have. What do you mean it made no sense? Why they fucking attacked him?
I'm gonna kill your leader and then be like, "Hey, join me."
No, they were saying surrender at that point.
No, you see, he was arguing to have them join him against everybody else. Still, after he killed Ramona or whatever.
He said to Shuri, "You're the queen now. You make the choices."
I'll be back in a week, even though I'm already in control of this whole place.
He needs to get the water out of his brain.
It's so dumb.
So, love the water bombs. Ramonda's death was like. I hate to say it, but like
I do want to say again, Angela Bassett fucking selling the scene. I know the burning of your muscles and just that burning of wanting to take a breath when you're still like 5 feet below where the air is underwater. Perfectly done.
Yeah, again, she fucking crushed this, and I will say that like although some of the actors and actresses weren't as good compared to her.
Want to change
the scenes of like the grieving, more specifically, I think with Ramonda more than with T'Challa, ironically,
bend over to reach
like
it.
was pretty powerful.
Something
about like Shuri crying. I don't know. I was just like, wow, that's fucking.
I couldn't connect with Shuri in this movie. I tried really hard.
I know.
The actress like just didn't do it.
I agree. I agree with you, but I think there was a couple of pockets here and there that I appreciated, but
when she was able to sit there and get back into her funny ways of being the Shuri from the first episode, from the first movie,
toward the end,
I enjoyed it a bit more. But for her to be that sulking child still later on in this movie when she's supposed to have had matured, I didn't like it too much.
There's just too much weight on her shoulders in this movie that I don't think she's was ready for in terms of.
She has big shoulders.
She's fucking tiny, man.
So after Ramonda's funeral, Shuri uses a remnant of the herb that gave Namor's people their superhuman abilities to reconstruct the heart-shaped herb once again. She ingests it, gaining superhuman abilities, and this is favorite part of the movie. She ingests it, gaining superhuman abilities, and meeting on the ancestral plane Killmonger, who urges her to seek revenge. I loved this.
I wish he would have just come back.
I loved that they kept him dead.
That's part of it. Yes, that is a part of it. But I love the twist. And first off, I love Michael B. Jordan. I think he's a fantastic actor.
I wish they wouldn't have killed him.
But I love the twist of this. I love the little the addition to this. He's urging her to seek revenge. I think that with all the back and forth on the writing and everything, that was probably the stroke of genius for me in this movie. Was that one moment with Michael B. Jordan coming back as Killmonger, urging Shuri for revenge. I fucking popped. I was like, oh shit.
I like the fact that they included him in it. I like the fact that they included him as like a force ghost kind of deal, like a force of vengeance and being like, you're like me, not like any of them. Yeah, go fuck it up, cuz. It's just like this is I don't know, it's something that just irks me, where like you look at the rest of the superhero movies and you got every other fucking person, almost every fucking guy in this genre get fucking bulked up out of control, and then you look at her and she's made of twigs, and they're trying to sell her as like, yo, this it just sets a precedent that it is weirdly unfair, that all the men have to be jacked out of their mind, and the women don't.
I know what you're talking about. It is a little
like the
tricky.
Natalie Portman had CGI arms.
Yeah.
Like I get it, like it's hard to do, but it's like, man, it's expected of so many of the others. Fucking what is his name? Kumail, I think his name is. He got fucking jacked and never even did anything with him.
Oh yeah.
In Eternal.
Yes. Camille.
You're gonna wear a coat the entire time.
He was, I think, my favorite Eternal. Now that I think about it. Anyway, Shuri dons a new Black Panther suit and is accepted by the other Wakandan tribes as the Black Panther. But despite M'Baku's urges for peace, Shuri is determined to exact vengeance on Namor for Ramonda's death and orders an immediate counterattack on Talokan. Preparing for battle, with Ao assuming the position of General Dora Milaje, Shuri bestows the Midnight Angel armor upon Okoye, who in turn recruits Dora Milaje member Anika to join her. Riri Williams also creates an Iron Man-esque powered exoskeleton to aid the Wakandans.
In 3 hours.
So first off, the scene with Shuri emerging as the Black Panther. There is a detail about the Black Panther suit that I did not catch until getting ready for this review. Did you guys notice that the Black Panther suit that she wears has a bit of the similar pattern of Killmonger?
Yes.
I didn't catch that at first.
I did.
It also has the white dots that she wore for the funeral.
Yes, it's a mixture of her, obviously T'Challa, and Killmonger mixed in, which I really like that little detail, and I'm so... if Ramonda's my favorite character in this movie, M'Baku's my second. I love him in general for his banter, but more importantly, I also liked him for this scene as like the rock of like kind of obviously they treat him as like a meathead throughout most of the MCU, and then he kind of comes into him, like he kind of steps into his own a little bit closer towards the end. But this scene in particular, I really like the back and forth between the two. It's like we have books we read, but also like trying to be like the noble spirit.
I love the arm wrestling contest between the two of them.
That too, you know.
Finally accepts that. Okay, you are the Black Panther. You are our protector.
Yep. What about you, Baseman?
I like him as a character for sure, and like we said before, he's one on my list of the people that I prefer as Black Panther. Still, it was not a bad scene. The suit looks cool, but again, man, I just can't buy her. I just can't. It's kind
of tricky, stiff wind, you know.
Yeah, I mean the other thing too that I find
it has the kinetic energy in it that she made for her brother as well. So stiff wind.
Well, yeah.
There's three things.
It's just the double standard that I can't get behind.
What's up, Brandon? There's three things I wanted to bring up as far as a visual aid here. So the first is the Midnight Angel armor.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree with her. It's fucking ugly.
Not my choice, but if it's a way to keep Okoye, then fine. I'm a fan of Okoye, so I'm all cool with that. It is a bit like they look like owls.
The end of this movie gets a little bit Iron Man 3.
A little bit.
And that's not a good thing.
No, I know what you mean. Second, Ironheart's suit.
Oh God.
Beetleborg. I almost like it.
It reminded me of a mini-me version of the Hulk smash suit.
It looks too much like a toy.
Yeah. It's the back, like the flaps or whatever in the back. It's the back. Other than that,
you know what this reminded me of? Because Wendy and I rewatched it for the first time in a while. Baymax's armor.
Yeah.
It looks 100% like a toy. And I mean, I get it. People were like, well, Iron Man's suit was a toy. But Iron Man's suit still looks
like a suit.
Like a
like a
combat
suit.
piece of armor.
This looks like what the fuck are they called? Those big Japanese robots?
Gundams?
Yeah, it looks like a Gundam.
Yeah.
But just shrunken, and it's ugly as shit. I didn't like anything about that character. I didn't like her banter. She looked like she was 40 years old and supposed to be 18. I didn't like anything that happened with her. She was something that did not need to be in this movie, and she's only in here so that you'll watch it on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Such a useless character, man.
I would love if she
just not for me.
I would love if like she like lifted her arms and like you just saw the Disney Plus logo. Just
Yeah.
anyway. Okay.
Her mother should have let her drown.
Jesus. So here's something that really fucking made me like, I know we've been like poking fun at and also criticizing like plot points and whatnot, but the biggest one for me out of everything was, hey, we're gonna take the fight to the Talokans. So we're gonna do it on a ship in the middle of the fucking ocean.
Fucking idiots.
Why? Why would you do that? At least okay, fuck it. At least with Shuri's plan, right? The fucking flying oven, toaster oven that Baseman mentioned earlier. All jokes aside, fine, but the idea was that they was supposed to get him away from the water, which
lead him and all of his army towards the middle
sense
of
to
the
me.
fucking island.
Why would you fight?
What's the plan when they sink the boat you're on? Because you're dead at that point. And also, why can the blue people just climb up the side of a sheer fucking boat? There was no thing.
They whistle.
They were just like fucking handing it. Do they have like
The octopus.
They're all octopus hands?
Yes.
I was like, what the fuck? Okay, they didn't even try. And the CGI where they were like flying across the side of the boat, I'm like, this looks terrible. It doesn't make any fucking sense. And everything, like the entire and the ending fight, none of it worked for me. They were switching back and forth between her fight and all the other fights that nobody cared about, and it was like, we're gonna do slow mo at this awkward situation. I like they slow mode shit that was just terrible. Like she grab her blades back and just stand there. I'm like, okay, you slow mode her turning 3 degrees to the right. Great, that's fucking incredible.
Nailed it. So, using a seafaring vessel, the Wakandans lure Namor and his warriors to the surface on a fucking boat with another vibranium detector as a battle ensues. Shuri traps Namor in a fighter aircraft, intending to dry him out and weaken him. The pair crashes on a desert beach and fight. Shuri gains the upper hand, but has a vision of Ramonda and implores Namor to yield, offering him a peaceful alliance. Namor accepts, and the battle ends. Okay. So
this is where I had my major problem, because it's like she sits there and says, we need to figure out a way to weaken Namor. He's water. Fucking fire.
As comical as the plan is, I kind of get it, because like I said, as much as I like, fine, it's goofy, it's stupid, it's a little like out there, but at least it makes sense to me anyway. Like, oh, let's dry him out. Fine, okay, fine. Oh, they fucking fricassee. They fish sticked him.
Also,
I actually didn't mind the fight between Namor and Shuri.
Just chopped up so much, man.
I know, and that's the part I didn't like the back and forth. But the part that maybe it's just me. The part that really made me gonna go crazy was
We run on the bathroom counter.
So Shuri is standing over Namor, and she's like, "You cut the shit. We'll protect you. We'll cover you. We'll make sure nobody knows about you, and we're done." And Namor yields. Then they go back to the fight where Wakandans are clearly gonna fucking lose.
Mm-hmm.
And we're good.
Yeah.
It's just,
Massive war happening on the fucking water, and just him standing up and going back in the water. Yeah, we're done. See you, folks.
it's so flaccid. Fucking Shuri gets impaled through the spine, and no, I'm all good. Namor gets lit on fire. And they both come back. They're perfectly fine. What? She's missing like a fucking 2-inch gap in her insides, and he's fucking burned alive. But nope.
Yeah, we're good. Walk it off.
Like this is to me.
I can forgive that.
I can't.
I can
That's
sort of.
inexcusable.
I can sort of forgive that goofy shit. I say sort of. The part that infuriates me more than anything else is the fact that like they have this like big warriors battle where they're both defeated, scarred up, and then it's just like they get up and they're fine, and then they go to the battlefield where one of them is clearly fucking losing. What prevented Namor from just taking a spear, stabbing Shuri in the fucking throat, and be like, "JK, lol," and then that's it?
It's just like this is okay. There's a certain allowance for Marvel. This is like I can't. I can't. I'm sorry.
You tapped it.
It's just like this is like supreme fantasy ridiculousness. They show his back burned to a crisp, and then he's completely fine after that.
Mm-hmm.
And she is completely fine after being stabbed.
Laying in the sand with that burned up back.
Yeah, it's just like nothing matters, and they don't care. If they don't care, why the fuck do I care?
So Namor's cousin Namora is upset about Namor's surrender.
I thought it was his wife, to be honest.
I does that too. But he assures her that the new alliance will allow him to conquer the surface world one day. That's not what I got from whatsoever from fucking.
Nope.
That's not what I got out of it was, and maybe this is just me.
Bitch made.
Was hey, the world's gonna turn on Wakanda soon, and when they would turn on Wakanda, they're gonna need an alliance, and they're gonna look to us.
Well, that's what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. And it's just that the world is eventually going to turn on Wakanda thanks to Val and her manipulative ways as the new head to S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever they call it now.
Dicks.
Yeah.
Dicks with dicks.
The entire world is eventually going to turn on Wakanda, Captain America, fucking any of the other Avengers that are still alive that they're gonna go to, and they're gonna need somebody. And hey, yeah, I know I burned your back really bad, but bruh, I need help.
Hey, fish sticks.
This is the thing that it just doesn't make any sense, because we want to talk about Shuri's grief and wanting to burn the world down and shit like that. That doesn't make sense. Then her not killing Namor is not equivalent to her forgiving Namor for killing her mother. They're not. It's not equivalent.
Well,
it's not like you're best friends all of a sudden. It's like I won't kill you, but it's not going to be like let's be best buds now, because it doesn't make any fucking sense. If you're going to accept that logic, the burning the world down shit, you can't like find reasons for that and not find reasons for this.
I think Ramonda was trying to prevent Shuri from going to what Namor was. And this might be me reading into shit and trying to connect dots that aren't there. I fully understand that, so just hear me out. And again, brain fried, so I may not be the best at explaining this. Ramonda did not want to cooperate with the world. She wanted to not like destroy the world, but she just didn't want to have the borders open up. Shuri wanted to burn the world down, and especially after her mother's now dead, she wanted nothing but to kill Namor. And so right before Shuri, Ramonda came in like the vision and said, "Hey, don't do it." My guess was because she didn't want. She realized that if Shuri did this, she would be down that path of burn fucking everything. And letting him live is not forgiving her forgiving him for the murder, but it was more so to not go down a callous revenge blood path that
she's preventing her from becoming Killmonger.
I get that, but you also get the vibes, or at least I got the vibes that he kind of seems like
a dick.
We're gonna be buddies after this, or they're gonna attack.
Thinking on it because he's an prick.
Yeah.
His thing is the whole like fine with his hand behind the back the whole time. That's what I got from the final
honestly,
scene.
like, if there's, well, there will be another Black Panther. If it's still this fucking bullshit about not giving up vibranium, I'm not watching it, because like that
Next time on
storyline is dead to
Roundtable.
me. That storyline is dead to me. You at this point in time, you have to let everybody else in on the vibranium train, or else. No, I can't buy the fact that it's gonna be years later and still nobody gets vibranium from Wakanda. It just won't make any fucking sense. They would have bombed out of existence
Honestly,
if that happened.
what I would really like is instead. Well, wouldn't be about vibranium, but if it would be about the like Wakanda's destruction for not cooperating, we could see this as a way for them to introduce Latveria. No. Home to a doctor.
Yeah,
Full
but
of doom.
how are they going to like? I'm not seeing the connection.
In the comics, Wakanda and Latveria have gone to war many a time over various different things. So I'm saying is if they're going to do a third Black Panther movie, they could do a third Black Panther movie to introduce / set up Doctor Doom. Whether it be about Latveria in general or about him, take your pick.
But they've established Wakanda as like a world superpower. So if they go to war with anybody, they're going to war with everybody.
Essentially, yeah.
Except for
Except for it's two
Long Gone
cities
Silver.
versus the world.
So Riri Williams returns to MIT, leaving her suit behind. Why? While Okoye rescues Ross from captivity. I did love the line of a colonizer in chains. Now I've seen everything. I thought that was a kind of funny line. Shuri plants more heart-shaped herbs to ensure the future of the Black Panther mantle, and in Shuri's absence, M'Baku steps forward to challenge for the throne. Shuri visits Nakia in Haiti, where she burns her funeral robe in accordance with Ramonda's wishes, allowing herself to finally grieve for T'Challa. However, in the mid-credits scene, Shuri learns that Nakia and T'Challa had a son, whom Nakia had been raising in secret. He reveals his Wakanda name is, of course, none other than T'Challa.
You have been erased. I thought what's his name, M'Baku? I thought he was challenging Shuri.
He was.
So she would have to get rid of the plant and fight him at 103 pounds.
So here's the weird thing, and this is the part that I've kind of was trying to scratch my head about as far as that scene, right? M'Baku seemed like he was challenging Shuri, but you're right. It would be like he would just like fucking like one strong pimp hand slap down the waterfall she goes. I don't know if she took the mantle of queen.
I doubt it.
Now, it's very...
But wouldn't she have to?
Well, so that's the tricky part here, is that Black Panther in the MCU, they've established that the Black Panther and the King Queen are the same. So if you are the king, you are Black Panther. They are one and the same. However, that's not always the case in the comics. Sometimes the Black Panther is the protector for whoever the true hierarchy is, usually a queen or whatever. So that's the question, is that we don't know.
We saw in the first one, in Winter Soldier, T'Chaka was still king, while T'Challa was Black Panther.
Correct. So there is a question.
I kind of want to see T'Chaka as Black Panther, though.
He was too old. That's why.
It would have been perfect.
His eyes were all fucked up. So so the way I interpret it was it's like, I think obviously Shuri is Black Panther. That is without it, like that has been established. But whether or not she's Queen of Wakanda is a big question mark, which is why I think that her getting away from everything was symbolic of that nature too, of like, nope, I'm going to step away from, which is why I actually liked everything happening in Haiti and not in Wakanda for that final scene. And again, great send off for Chadwick with like the reflection of him and the burning of the funeral robe and the son, his son, he has a son, which there was a little bit of, there was a line in that, which I'm not sure if you guys probably didn't catch it, but says, your father prepared us for his passing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you in the first movie, T'Chaka says to T'Challa, any father who doesn't prepare his son for his passing has failed as a father. Drop mic.
It was.
Yeah, come on. Yeah.
Yes, they showcased the kid. What was the purpose of hiding it from Shuri?
Or hiding it from all of Wakanda for 6 years.
They didn't want the pressures of.
I get all of Wakanda, but Shuri, just so we could have that reveal. Don't worry. The other thing, you guys see the easily edited out lesbian scene for China?
Oh my God. Okay, yeah, like the one was it even a kiss?
Yeah, it was a kiss on the forehead.
Yeah, thank you, my love. Like, fuck.
Marvel gonna Marvel.
It was like she didn't want to do it too because she was just like.
Yeah, it was just like they have to shoehorn in that one scene that can easily be cut out and wouldn't affect anything for a China release. That was fucking something. The other thing that I found ridiculous, she's like, "Here's your car that was totaled and thrown in the river, rebuilt from every piece." I'm like, "Yeah, what?" Half those pieces be warped beads, right? And destroyed.
It was from the anal beads.
Oh man, this movie has so many problems.
There's so many scenes in this too that was just like, this is too long, but then this scene is also too long, but feels like they chopped it to pieces so that it could be rushed. When Ramonda goes to Haiti and meets up with Lupita, and she sits there and she tells her, "You are Wakandan. Death is not the final stage." And she's, "Yeah, you're right. Okay, so yeah, can you go now?"
Okay, so here's what I'll throw this question out to you before we get into our final thoughts and our overall ranking of this. I think we're all in agreement this was not as good as the first one.
Oh hell no!
I think the first one was.
I wasn't in love with the first one either. So
I know, that's why I'm trying to be neutral here with this. Okay, God damn it. Is it decent? I'm not saying it's great. I'm saying taking into consideration everything and all the aspects and even the emotional stakes of the it's basically a memorial to Chadwick and the role. Is it at least decent? I think it's at least decent. I think there's enough good in this movie, despite some of the frustrating more parts.
I don't think it's a good movie.
You what?
I don't think it's a good movie.
Didn't say good.
I think they did
decent.
I don't think it's a decent movie either. Like as a movie itself, it fails to be entertaining. And its runtime just absolutely obliterates it. When it's not entertaining, it hasn't succeeded at what it's supposed to be, which is entertainment. I do feel that they've done some good things, and that like the treatment of T'Challa was obviously one of the good things that they did. Like we said before, it kind of teeters at times, but they kind of land more on the side of being respectful than not. As far as that said, there's nothing that's like the main storyline is boring, but it's not egregiously terrible. Like they don't.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Yeah.
I can't give it the decent rating because I literally felt like I watched 7 hours. And it was just 2 hours and 40 minutes.
If it was shorter, would you be?
It would have to have shaved off almost an hour of runtime for the messages that it's saying. And it could have done that. It could have even been a bit over 2 hours long. But there's so much wasted time in this movie. Every scene is longer than it needs to be. There's a scene where they're hugging and it goes on for like 2 minutes and it circles around them forever. I'm like, man, why?
What about you, Heather? Decent?
This is difficult because
that's why I asked it.
Yes, they did the respectful thing in only showing pieces of Chadwick Boseman when she's doing her time to grieve and not showing him at the beginning with terrible CGI or the fucking the holographic or deepfake face. It's just on a different person's body. But again, if it's not for Angela Bassett, if it's not for fucking Bilbo Baggins, and if it's not for some parts of this not being so overly done as they have done in other movies, this movie would have been a complete and utter failure. But is also not a decent movie. Like I said, I was watching this movie while cleaning and having to stop to clean to just process him sitting there telling her that her bones are going to be destroyed and her heart's going to explode as she goes to the depths in which they need to go to see his culture.
Right.
But hold on, we have a suit that can take care of that instead of sitting there and just flat out saying, "Yeah, we have a deep diving suit. I'll show you."
Yeah, because you get a dramatic.
It's a mosquito all over again.
You get a mosquito this way. So, all right. Last question before I throw it over to everybody's final thoughts and rating on this. Let's say Chadwick lived. Let's say that, because I did do a quick little bit of a tidbit here. Majority of the movie apparently stayed relatively the same, with obviously a major exception. So let's say Chadwick lived and he stayed on as Black Panther, but instead of them grappling back and forth with all this stuff, but you kept Chadwick there. But the idea is that he's grappling with how to handle Wakanda's relationship with the world since T'Challa opened up the borders, with some Wakandan elders saying that it was a mistake, trying to get him out of boot him out as king, or some supporting him and just kind of the struggle between them. But everything else with Namor and all that other shit stayed the same. Would it be better?
I don't think it would.
I do think it would. And the main reason is because at the end of Black Panther, the first one, we have him talking about like introducing it to the people in need, introducing their technology to the people in need. If that step was taken and there was a bit more shared with the rest of the world that we could see, then Namor's resentment in doing so would make more sense than that not happening. And it kind of just living in the political sphere of, you promised to do this and you didn't do this, yet Namor's still blaming them because a scientist created a device to find fucking unobtainium. Avatar 3, baby. Yeah, like I feel like there's at least more motivation for Namor if T'Challa was still in it. It still wouldn't be I don't think it would be a great movie, but it would make the anti-hero a bit more intriguing.
Right.
It would make the plot a bit more intriguing, I guess.
All right. So I'm going to throw it over to final thoughts and rating. I'm going to start with Heather. What would your overall thoughts of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and what would you rate this out of 10?
The overall thoughts is I am in agreement with Basement. Shuri should not have taken up the mantle of Black Panther simply because of the fact that she's always been the man in the chair. Mm-hmm. She's always been the one that does the development for Black Panther's new technology, his new suits, the new weaponry, the new spyware, all of that. So her now being the one to take that mantle and step out of the chair is a major step that I don't think this actress can handle if and when they do a third movie. So with that in mind, I can't go any higher than a 4.
All right then, Monsieur Basement, Mr. Seaman.
I mean, that's like Heather said. It's like fucking Q becoming 007. It just doesn't work.
So many fucking Qs. So good.
And it also doesn't work because there's better options available. They also shoehorn in things that don't need to be in the movie. They really don't need to be in the movie.
Sorry, for some reason
a lot of the plot points, if you think about them for more than a minute, they just become really stupid. Like, it baffles me how like people write a script and they come up with Swiss cheese. I really don't get it when the amount of money at play is there, and I can only surmise that they don't give a shit. And like I said before, if they don't give a shit, I don't give a shit. I didn't find the movie very entertaining. There are moments that were okay, but it's fucking way too long. I was like, I hit the 10 seconds forward a couple times, on Disney Plus, so it's like, I can't just get to the fucking point. It's killing me. I'm probably gonna go. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. I can tell you that right now. I would never recommend this movie to anybody to watch.
I wouldn't recommend it out of 10.
I would say Black Panther. I'd probably give a 6 out of 10, the original.
Yep.
This one, 4.5. It's close to a 5, but there's too much wrong with it for me to go there. Then again, I watched it at home. You watched it in theater. Different experiences too. You got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna go 5. I'm gonna go 5. I'm gonna go middle of the road here because I'm not taking away from the negatives, but the positives kind of cancel. It didn't make it like the positives outweigh the negative. I don't think so, but there was enough of I still say it was decent because, and this is the only reason I'm saying this, story-wise, if you're looking for like the story, no. But if you're looking at it as Chadwick Boseman, T'Challa, memorial, homage, dealing with even sometimes the dealing with grief aspect of it, the undertones, which I'm a sucker for that story. That's why it kind of resonated with me a little bit differently. Again, like you said, personal experience is a little different for everybody. But I'm gonna go middle of the road because there is story-wise blood coming out of my nose. But yeah, the pros still did it for me anyway. But that's just me anywho. But and guess what?
I don't think would you rewatch it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would not, and that's why that's where the 5 for me would be. I'd be willing to rewatch the movie. That's why I didn't get to that step. That's really realistically the only reason I didn't get to the 5 from a 4.5.
Ironically, for me personally, the Namor conflict did not do anything for me. It wasn't like I wasn't really intrigued by it. Not because it was like I know where this is gonna go, but I knew Namor wasn't gonna die. So it's like, okay, well then what? Like I wasn't really invested in that part of the story. I was more, to be honest with you, ironically, infatuated with the concept of dealing with grief and moving on. That part of it was more interesting to me than almost anything else, which is why I forgave more of the leaning on Chadwick / T'Challa's passing because I personally liked that story a little bit more. I felt like the Namor was like just like fluff, to be honest with you.
Like that story beat. I've seen it done way better everywhere.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you.
They did touch on the grief, but again, like this is my problem with it when they start to. There's a way to tell it that is a bit more concise, and preying on someone's grief to get them to try to be like, let's burn the world together. It didn't get there for me for that to be a believable thought. And I know she doesn't act on it, but that's the
no, I know that part was a little tricky
story
for me,
beat, right?
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you.
Everyone gets a suit.
What?
Everyone gets a suit.
Yeah. All right. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. It's Iron Man 3.
That's like actually detrimental for the future in my mind. That's another thing.
You can see the future. It's all right. We'll get there when we get to Secret Wars. Well, with that being said, once again, ladies and germs, we are caught up with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. At the time of this recording, on the Valentine's Day, basically, we have reviewed everything that MCU has produced, that Marvel Studios produced in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, literally until fucking Thursday. So as you may or may not heard at the beginning of this program, the next thing we're going to do is a new type of roundtable led by the tattooed mama herself, Heather. We're going to be doing a Harry Potter roundtable. Now, presumably, Heather, we're still going to do it on Mondays. Do we know what day we're starting?
Thinking starting it the 27th so we can get ourselves a little breather from the roundtable again.
Cool. So in 2 weeks' time.
And gives me a little bit of time to get more than just one thumbnail set up.
Sounds good. So the next time we do a roundtable will be the 27th of Feb. So make sure you guys subscribe and, of course, listen to us on your favorite podcasting platform, where we will be starting the Harry Potter roundtable with Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Yes?
Lost First was the same.
Yeah, it's just overseas. It got changed to
Oh
philosophers.
my
Here
fucking
is
God!
the
We're already
sorcerer.
starting on this bullshit. Great, can't
Yeah,
wait.
yeah, we're gonna go there. We're gonna dig deep.
Where's Namor?
Roman. But the next time we join us in the Marvel Roundtable will be whenever we get a chance to review it. But of course, it'll be starting Phase 5 and presumably the red carpet rollout of the next big Thanos-level villain, which of course is Kang the Conqueror, as we explore the new realm in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.